having the knowledge about the material you need to mark, and then taking that and comparing it to your budget and what those lasers are in that budget range for that wavelength option. That's the formula. That's the magic formula here to find out what the best laser is for beginners, you know. And then finally, once you have that determined, then you have to ask yourself, am I doing this as a hobby or for business?
Bam.
Nice.
All right, guys. Welcome to the next, what is this, our newest live stream rituals for Tuesdays. I think today we're talking about what's the best first laser rate?
Yeah, what's the best first laser for anyone? It's a huge question. So definitely something that is great to cover on the Laser Source podcast, for sure. Also, you mentioned the new schedule really quick. I'd love to just cover that super fast so everybody knows. We are really going to be trying to be consistent with the schedule. So every Tuesday, we're going to have a normal format podcast just like this, the same old Laser Source podcast you're used to watching all of the time. Thursday will be the same topic, but we'll be doing viewer call-ins to get your guys' opinions on stuff because that went so well last week. If you guys haven't seen last week's episode about potential recessions, definitely go check it out because it was a really good episode. So this week we're doing what's the best beginner laser engraving machine for somebody who's brand new. And then next week you guys can call in and give us your opinions on that same topic. And we're going to stick really, really hard to being consistent on that schedule with a new topic every week across those two episodes. And of course, every Tuesday night, we will also be recording the LMA bonus episode for you off air, which you can find over at the Laser Master Academy. It's masters.lasereverything.net. So, okay, that's it. That's the just housekeeping there real quick. But hey to everybody in the chat there. It's nice to see you all. And we got Kyle. What's up, Kyle?
What up?
Dude, I feel like you're going to have a lot to share on this topic, man.
I hope so.
Yeah, you've been through what? 6 diode lasers in the last 2 months? Maybe?
5?
I'm sad that this episode is coming now and not a little bit later because that X tool just showed up at
That's true.
At the shop, but I don't think that's really a starter machine anyway. That's an
expensive starter machine.
A lot of people buy it as a starter machine, and that's like crazy to me.
It's on the premium level of diodes for sure.
Yeah, I mean, if you've never touched a laser before, I don't know if that's the way to go, unless you just have $1,200 burning a hole in your pocket, in which case, by all means. But there are lasers that are very, very, very good for a third of that price. And you don't necessarily have to start with a diode either. I started with a CO2. What kind of laser did you started with? A fiber, right, boys?
Yeah, I bought the 50 watt fiber laser first, and we just got our mirror in this past weekend. So I'm not good enough at either yet. So
no, yeah, for sure. And Kyle, you started with a CO2.
I did. I started with a 100 watt 24 by 40 CO2.
Yep, I started with a CO2, I suppose, way back. It was an AP laser, but it was through the company I worked for. It wasn't mine. My very first laser that I ever owned was an Ohmtech. The red and black one, the same one from the channel, was my first laser. Probably also something I might not recommend to people getting a first-time machine. They just take so much TLC. There's a lot of good things to be said about them. They're ridiculously affordable, The
value is there for sure.
The value is there for sure. But if you're not handy and you're just trying to figure out how lasers work, would something like a Mira 5 not be a better choice where it kind of just like shows up? It's got the chiller built in, it's like got the fan, like everything's aligned, and like you're kind of like already working with high quality stuff. It's a budget thing, man. I mean, there's so many questions that come to mind when, what are you trying to mark? What is your budget? I mean, those are the two big ones. We have other questions for sure. I mean, people come into the Discord all the time and they're like, I'm looking for my first laser. What one should I get? And I'm like, that's not enough information.
How much time can you invest in and tuning the machine
Yeah.
for it to do what you want it to do.
For
Can
sure.
you spend 40 or 80 hours a couple weeks straight, getting it the way you need it?
Yep. And so, I mean, I feel like we're kind of obligated here to talk about just some of the basic laser types real quick, because if you're looking for your first laser, I mean, the first question that everybody should answer, regardless of budget, is what are you trying to engrave? If the answer is organics, right, wood, leather, acrylic, stuff like that, you would be looking for either a diode or a CO2. If the answer is metals, then the answer is going to be a fiber. And of course, if the answer is plastic, then a UV is going to be what you need. You can get away with CO2 and kind of a diode a little sometimes, depending on the plastic. But with infrared lasers, you're breaking the rules on you're bending the rules on plastic. They're not really designed for that. If you want really clean, nice, professional looking marks, you should have a UV if you're going to do plastic. So that's the first question you need to answer, is what are you going to mark? Because that's going to have a huge effect on what kind of laser you're going to get as your first laser. And that is assuming that you're going to buy it in a professional capacity, right? If this is just somebody who's messing around or just wants to do this as a hobby, I mean, would either of you argue that the instant correct answer is a $200 diode laser?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have no experience with diodes. I just jumped straight into the deep end of the pool and said, let's go. I'm going all in.
Mm-hmm.
I just got a second job and said, okay. I asked those same types of questions through YouTube and Google.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, we want to do wood signs, right? So we jumped in and we looked at, of course, well, my girlfriend she was exposed to a Glowforge. Then she was all in. She's like, Glowforge is easy. You just buy the thing and there's the wood. It's pre-programmed in the wood. You can scan it and you can cut it.
Yeah.
Simple.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, well, then I'm a little skeptical person. I'm like, well, let's look at the competition too.
Yeah.
Just because they're marketed well doesn't make them the best. So I kind of started doing my research and, just kept looking around and I thought, okay, CO2 is the way to go. Then I looked at Ohmtex and the same critiques that you said, Alex, is more about, you got a little jerry rigging, man. You got to do a little bit of a creative, handyman type of thing.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to getting things level and stuff like that. And I was like, man, I don't have the confidence to jump into my first lasers. One is like a fixer-upper.
Right.
You spend less money, but it is a fixer-upper machine. We want to run things consistently. And I just was like, the hell with it. Mira is the way to go for me. It's just a monster.
Yeah. And that's kind of what I was touching on too, is that for some people, it's not going to be worth the $4,000 difference to get something that needs that much love, because the Ohmtex, seriously, they are the Charlie Brown Christmas tree of lasers. Like, they can be great. They do really, really awesome work if you put the time in them required to really tune them up. And Louisiana Hobby Guy's got just an interesting comment here. Rich says the cheapest diode laser is best, in my opinion. I would disagree with that just a little bit. I'd probably say like the most medium range of the diode lasers are the best. There are some things that I definitely wouldn't want a newbie to not have. Kyle has experience with the diode lasers that don't have limit switches. I mean, come on, like they gotta have limit switches. Come on, Kyle, the limit switches.
So limit switches definitely help, especially if you, for example, if you hit stop halfway through a job, or if you're using absolute coordinates and you lose power, and you don't remember to reset it. If you don't have limit switches, you can't home the laser, so you have to go over there and manually move it back while it's off and start it back up, so that Lightburn can assume you're in the starting position.
And I mean, you have to do the math too to make sure that even that starting position is going to have enough space in the work area to actually run the job, right? Because it doesn't know where it is. Does it?
If you're starting from the home position, you set your bed size, you at least have that. But if you're if you're not starting from ground zero on everything every time you start, you have a chance of running over and hearing some not fun noises.
There's some stuff I would want on a medium range diode, I think, for a beginner, for a first time laser user. Limit switches is on the list. There are models that are not that expensive. What does the LaserMaster 2 Pro go for these days? I really need another window up over here. Let's check that out. Because I mean, limit switches, light burn compatibility, right? Like Gerbil light burn compatibility. You people buy these like Amazon lasers, and like it literally the only way to print on it is to hook it up to like an iPhone app and like bring artwork in on the phone, and then you like beam it over via Bluetooth. Like that's just not, that can't be a good beginner experience. Maybe I'm spoiled. Maybe I'm, I'm spoiled with Lightburn, and I'm spoiled with the knowledge on how to use this stuff. And people love their iPhone apps that only run raster images. I don't know, man, but I can't imagine having to deal with like trying to do professional looking work through a phone. You get the Ortur LaserMaster 2 Pro S2. The 3's coming out, so they're dropping the price a little bit for $449, which is not brutal, it's not like outrageous, and you get that nice big work area. And then they make the little off arrow 1 too. You can get the little off arrow 1. It takes the same exact laser diodes. It moves a little bit slower. That one's on sale right now for $199. That's about as cheap as they get. I feel like you've had crappier diodes that you've reviewed, Kyle, that are more expensive than that.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would say if we're looking at diodes, at least from the ones I've had my hands on, because you're more the Ortur guy at this point, right?
Yeah.
I've had the Atom Stack and the Per Gears, the Niji. I think if you're looking for straight up the smallest dot size possible to get the most detail possible, I think the one that I've gotten the most detail out of so far is out of the Atom Stack P7 M40,
right?
Which is like, I think on sale it was down to $220.
And that was kind of like, if I remember correctly, that was like the AL1's like sibling unit, right? Like they both had that cantilever design. They were both the same smaller, like 200 millimeter workspace. Yeah.
And part of that, like for people who are looking at doing, for example, like tiles or photos on like small canvases, like 4x6s or 4x4 tiles, or what was the other project?
Business cards you can do.
You could do business cards. You can do, I mean, you could do small anneals on even metal with it. I mean, all you're going to get is anneals on like steel, but you can make that look good.
Yeah, we did in the testing video we did before the review for the AL1. We pulled that off on a couple like pocket knives, so you can do that. It's a permanent mark.
If that form factor fits for you, then there are definitely options around the $200-ish mark.
Yeah.
How much was the one you were looking at?
As far as
the sibling in size to the
the AL1 is $199.99 right now.
So right around $200.
So right around $200.
If you wanted a bigger footprint, like the 400 by 400-ish range, I mean, that's when you're starting to get into
LaserMaster 2. Yeah.
There's so many options
that we still haven't torn into that the LaserStorm L5 Pro yet. Nope. And then the Niji Max, that one was 400 by 800, right?
410 by 840 or something.
It's gigantic. It's like two full-size diodes side by side.
Yes.
Yeah.
I had to set aside my entire work table for it, essentially. So, I mean, it depends on the footprint you want, right? You have to have room to set up the thing. So, if you have a table you can dedicate to.
That just occurred to me too, because when the X-Tool D1 Pro came in, I was like looking at the box and I'm like, holy shit, this thing's big. Like, where am I going to put that? Like, even in my I have 1,000 square foot shop and most of it is empty. And I'm like, am I going to build it on the floor? You know, like, I don't know what I'm going to do with it. So definitely you got to pay attention to that footprint for sure.
Here's the other use case, right? Are you going to be doing a lot of custom work? Are you going to have 4 or 5 of these things running at the same time? What's the size of what you want to engrave? Are you going to be doing a bunch of custom tiles? So maybe somebody could retile their kitchen with Marvel themed tiles or something. Yeah.
I mean, people go through like that phase where like they order like 50 3D printers and they have like a 3D printing farm set up, you know, like are you doing that? Yeah, totally.
I know a couple of people who have like 8 or 9 diodes that they just, when they go to their shop at the beginning of the day, they start up all of them. And so if you have like layers of shelves, you could set up like that Niji Max, for example, and bulk load the thing and sit there for 8 hours while it runs.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome if you could set up a couple of those even. But
I would love to be able to for it. Well, I would love to be able to go back and just have a young person that has an entrepreneur spirit in them, and they have like a table, like a dining room table, and they're going to go into something simple like laser and like customizing. All they're going to do is like let's say quotes of a certain person on a coasters or something, and knives, right? You know, it's only going to be so big. You can get a very, like you said, $200 laser, and you can have a business if you have a market. Like if you can market it right, some kid could just start a business and grow it from there and say, okay, then they had the money to reinvest and, you know, then start going bigger. But if you're like in an apartment, you need something that's going to be compact and not take up a third of your living space. You know, that's you want to eat a dinner. It's not your dinner table. You're able to sit a tablecloth on top of a mere 9mm kitchen.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think size and space is a huge factor too for your own situation. Like if you're trying to start an at-home business and not have a shop, you know,
right?
That's a huge consideration too, is space, because some of these things, like you said, the X tool is, what is that, like 800 by 800? The Pro?
No, it should be like 400 by 400. It's a standard sized machine, but that's still, I mean, doesn't sound big, but it's like, it's big. Like that's a big area of coverage, 40 centimeters by 40 centimeters. That's like that big, man. That's not a small thing. That's like a big thing. That's a big deal. I think the footprint of the Laser Master 2 is bigger than the footprint of my fiber laser work bed. Yeah, I think I could fit the fiber laser work, like just barely, maybe. Like it's big.
Well, my fiber laser, it only goes 300 by 300 that I have. I think the the BMW Tech, whatever the hell it is, you know.
Yeah. We have a quick question from Blow Me Down, saying, I'm looking for a laser to do custom engravings on die cast. What watt fiber laser would I need to do very fine detail? Die cast is soft, right? That's like a really soft metal, malleable. So not a lot. I'm assuming not a lot.
You could do that with like a 20 watt and a really tiny lens and get amazing detail.
Something like a 70 millimeter lens or 110 millimeter lens would be fine with that. I probably wouldn't recommend something like a 50s are a little hard to handle. That's kind of a different beast. Those are like really small. The lens is like right on top of the stuff, but like something from like 70 to 110 would be fine with that. And you do not need a lot of wattage in order to handle die cast. That would be super easy for you. Super easy.
For a minorly small investment above a 20 watt fiber, you could get a 30 and infinitely gain your possibilities too, just a bit. 30 watt, as small of a jump as it is, gives you a little more capability in a lot of ways. Yeah, I should say.
Definitely.
Well, we got a friend of the family in here. That Mom and the Lasers just stopped in to say hey to everybody.
Heyo.
got all the fam popping in to say hi.
Oh yeah.
And Dallas Roots here says opinion on Z-Tech 50 watt laser.
I am not familiar with Z-Tech. I haven't. I would hate to cast judgment on them because I'm not familiar with their equipment.
Well, that's the thing too. I think when it comes to, like you said earlier, Alex, is picking your material you're going to work with is you got to do some serious research because this is a foreign language to me still. Like I'm still trying to pick up all these different terms.
Yeah.
And when you talk about materials, that comes with experience. So where would you point someone if they're asking about like, okay, I'm going to do a die cast. How do I find out how soft, how malleable it is? How do they know that detail, that the science of it really?
Yeah, that's a good question, because that's not really how I have gone about it personally. I didn't go the research route. I did the keep falling in the hole until you figure out to jump over it way, so I think the number one way is always going to be to find a responsive and trustworthy and helpful community of people that have done what you are trying to do already, and get that advice from them. I think that's the best way to do it. It's not always the best way to do it, because you can get bad advice. I've seen laser groups that give people settings for PVC engraving. So there's not, it's not a fail safe. I would say, when in doubt, first thing you should do is check an MSDS on a material and see what happens when you set it on fire. That would be the first thing. And if that is safe, then start moving to like the getting advice from people that are ahead of you. A lot of metals, you can just kind of tell. I mean, there's like the what is the Mohs hardness scale? I don't remember off the top of my head. It's been a while since 10th grade science, but there's a hardness scale for materials, and if you start to look at those lists, you can kind of start to get an idea. I typically, but it's not just about hardness either. There's so many variables in laser marking. Reflectivity is huge. Something super soft like silver, super malleable, super easy to bend, break, is much harder to engrave than something super hard like titanium. Titanium you can engrave no problem. It absorbs a ton of that IR, and silver reflects so much of that beam away that it's far more difficult. You have to go way slower. You have to get way hotter. You need to pull that line distance way in. And that's why I think really talking to people, you can do all the research in the world. And I'm not saying you shouldn't, you should, but you could do all the research in the world and then come across a situation like that. Well, I just took an 1/8 inch out of this titanium. It took me 4 hours, but I took an 1/8 inch out of it. Why can't I mark this silver? Like, it literally will not mark at all. And it's like, man, you need a line distance of like 0.002. You got to tighten that way up. It's got to get real hot because you're losing so many of those photons. So things like that, little things like that, are things that you're only going to pick up from a good community. Luckily, not to, this is pretty shameless, but we have a few. If you are new around here, links to the Discord and Laser Everything Facebook group down in the description, completely free. Great communities. Go check those out. But sorry, this is a long-winded.
Also a link to your YouTube video that has your buyer's guide in there. That kind of helps break things down a little bit for price points and stuff like that. Yeah,
so I would stick to the text buying guide right now. We have one over at lasereverything.net/buying guide. The text one is up to date. The video version, which fiber laser to buy, first of all, only covers fibers, so we don't talk about other materials and other options. And it's outdated. We recommend some brands, and some of the technical kind of jargon that we use in there actually isn't accurate. So I'd hate to teach people bad habits. I'm working on a new one. It's going to come out alongside of the Laser Everything Marketplace. So, Kyle and I will have that out soon. But for now, I'd stick to the paper one. That buying guide has tons of information, multiple different kinds of lasers. So, I think that would be a good place to start.
Can we shoot that over into the the comments that way? Because we have a few people in here, like Sparrow says, I have a question if anyone want to help me out. I'm new to the laser world. I'm looking to engrave aluminum, not anodized, cuff bracelets, and would like to know what type of laser do I need. So that's something I think he could find the type of answers he's looking for, he or she, in that buying guide that might help, and then start.
And that's something we should talk to Amanda about, Kyle. We could probably make it so that we have like a quick form, like looking for a laser. What are you trying to mark? And they type in a material, and then they like put in their budget, and it spits them a recommendation. That would
That'd
be
be
really
huge.
cool. That would be huge. And I think Amando would be really good at that. So I'm going to forget that idea. So please remember it for me. Okay, bro. Because that's going to just flood right out. But that would be something like that would be sick. The answer to your question, Sparrow, is a fiber. Since it's not anodized, you can't remove coatings. So CO2 and diode can both remove coatings from metal, like powder coat or anodizing, but they can't mark the metal themselves, with very few exceptions. Aluminum is not one of those exceptions. So if you're trying to actually mark bare aluminum, you will need a fiber laser. It doesn't have to be a powerful one. Aluminum's very easy to mark with fiber, but it will need to be a fiber.
One thing I will add that isn't part of the buying guide yet, the Wisely that I just reviewed. So if you're looking for fibers, one thing I will recommend too, check through the buying guide. There's a few options there.
Yeah.
And it's good to look at different options based on what you want. So some vendors will offer certain sources. Some will offer MOPA. Some will offer lower wattage. Some will target higher wattage. Some will have stuff out of stock. So shop around. You can get good prices from reputable sellers and get quality.
Yep.
There is such a thing as too cheap, because usually it means they're cutting corners.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, that's huge, especially on fibers. That's a really big concern with fiber lasers. So many fiber lasers are like $1,600. 60 watt MOPA M7, and it's like, that's how much the source in that machine costs. Like that math doesn't add up, like the parts cost more than that. They're selling that at a loss. Like there's a problem there. You have to recognize that. A lot of new first timers don't understand that. They don't see that is fishy because they don't know what they're looking at. Fiber lasers, man, there's a lot of pitfall companies out there where it's just the math doesn't add up, dude. And there's something going on, like just the components required to make that machine, the way it's being advertised, cost more than what they're charging for the machine. Really big red flag. So we want to make sure that we keep an eye out for that for sure.
So here's the perfect situation. Cost for $600. What are you gonna get for $600?
Not a fiber. Yeah, there is not a fiber laser that you can buy for $600, to my knowledge, at this time.
At least not one we would recommend.
Yeah, I think the cheapest one, the cheapest laser the cheapest fiber laser that I could recommend would probably be one of these over here, EM Smart. I'm working on the review for it right now. The review will be mixed/positive. There's definite limitations to owning something like this. The execution was fairly good. The company's okay. But that price, right? That price is dropping. There's sacrifices for that. And these run around $2,000. So that's where the line starts for these machines. And we're talking about 20 watt lasers here. You're starting around $2,000. So if anyone tries to sell you a $600 fiber laser, please run the opposite direction as fast as humanly possible.
Well, there's people asking, do you think it's a good idea to purchase Lightburn to get familiar with the software before you get your laser?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. And that brings up a great point, by the way. If you're in the market for your first fiber laser, right now, Lightburn only supports EasyCAD 2 boards. And especially the Chinese vendors love upselling you to the EasyCAD 3 boards. And you won't be able to use Lightburn if you get an EasyCAD 3 board. There's one use case for EasyCAD 3 that would not apply to most people, which is if you're literally unboxing the thing and putting it on like a production line in a factory. EasyCAD 3 might be the better option. Or if you like seriously need the 3D engraving feature, like you have, I don't even know, sculptures, and you need to engrave inside up the hills of the mountains on your terrain sculpture over and over and over again. Like those very specific cases, like either hardcore 3D engraving. I'm not talking about tumbler. I'm not talking about cylinders. I mean like complex 3D shapes, or you're getting it for like a factory production line. You need to do like macros and program it to do certain things, or work with cameras for like marking on the fly, stuff like that. Then yes, EasyCAD 3. For everybody else, which is 99.9% of you watching, EasyCAD 2 board is fine. Lightburn is amazing. Absolutely. I would definitely download the free trial, start playing with it right away. You can start on the crash course. We have 2 crash courses coming. Well, one is out, one is coming. So the Lightburn for Galvo crash course is out now. That's for fiber lasers, CO2 Galvo lasers, and UV lasers. And Kyle is right in the middle of working on the Lightburn for Gantry crash course, which covers diodes and Gantry CO2 lasers. Both of those are great tutorials, and you can start messing around with Lightburn right away and start to follow those courses and learn the ins and outs of the software before you begin. I think that's a wonderful idea.
Yeah, I really wish I would have known that thing about the whole EasyCAD 3.2 thingy, because I just bought that fiber laser, and I didn't know enough to ask the right. You don't know what you don't know, you know. Yeah. So I have the EasyCAD 3, and I'm like, man. Shit.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a link to it right now. Maybe Kyle can grab it. But we do have the EasyCAD 3 downgrade guide as well on the channel. It's fairly easy to follow. There's a little bit of soldering required. You can destroy your machine if you're not paying attention, so pay attention, but it can be done. It's not that hard. It's like 5 or 6 solder points, and it's all wires to connectors, nothing on boards. You're not wiring to soldering to boards. So fairly easy. So if you did get stuck with an EasyCAD 3 board, downgrading is not that bad. EasyCAD 2 boards are like $500. So it's not ideal, like $500 for the full size ones. Yeah. And then the light boards are like $250, which are also fine. They work for EasyCAD just fine. Depends on how many extension axes you need. So if you are planning on using an XY table, you're going to need 2 extension axes. You're going to need a full size EasyCAD 2 board on that. So and Kyle threw that link in chat for you guys, just so you know.
Bada boom, bada bing.
Tech Turtle says, if I'm nice, Alex might sell me his for $600, right? maybe someday when just the Laser Everything studio is so full of lasers, we'll just do like a secondhand dump. Kyle, you're planning on giving away some diodes pretty soon, right?
Yes. I still need a couple of them for comparison's sake. But yes, we will be giving away diodes likely before the end of the year. I'm not sure when though.
Chill. So something to look forward to for sure.
You know, so Louisiana hobby guy here says, once I downgrade, Lightburn would support EasyCAD 3. Like what? I know it's a dumb question, but people are going to ask, like, is Lightburn working on EasyCAD 3? You know, like, and what's that? Because they have a good first run with EasyCAD 2. I wonder how hard it is to change it to EasyCAD 3.
I don't want to speak for Jason. Jason's the best person to ask about this, but if I was just going on my gut instinct based on the things that I've seen and heard around him, his associates, and the community, I would say that I would not be shocked if we had Easy 3 support by the end of the year.
Then I'm gonna hold off a little bit.
Yeah, that would be my that would probably be my my max though. So yeah, no dumb questions, of course. There are no dumb questions. You guys ask whatever you want. But yeah, I would say I would think by the end of the year we'll see something, a beta, a trial. I mean, even if it's not like out, something. By the end of the year. So yeah, that's
You get that taste of goodness, man.
Well, that's part of the reason why for like people that are like brand spanking new and have never ever owned a laser before, a $200 diode or a $300 diode laser is a great toe dip in the water, because almost all of them support Lightburn via their Gerbil. So Lightburn, like the Lightburn Gerbil DSP license. You don't even need DSP. I think it's just $60, right? And you can just get the Gerbil license. No, I think you need DSP. You have to buy it one or the other.
Yeah, if you're working on the mirror, you need a DSP.
Anyway, guys, it doesn't cost. It's very, very inexpensive. That's my point. And you can learn how light burn works before buying a more expensive laser. So that's definitely something that you would want to check out. But I don't regret also my time with OhmTech. I just want to throw that out there too. OhmTech taught me a lot about how those machines work, not like the company, the reps, but like that machine, that red and black machine, because in order to use it and have it work right, I needed to like take it apart and put it back together again. And when you do that to something, you kind of figure out how they work, you know? It was a really great experience. I had the time and the energy, and I really enjoy this. It's fun for me. So I didn't mind doing it. And some people, there's more on the line for that, or they have less time for that. I get it. But it was invaluable for me because I learned a lot about how these machines work just because I was put in a situation where I had to figure it out. So just something else to consider as well.
I'm in that boat too.
Yeah.
For the viewers who don't know what I'm referring to, my machine that's now currently behind a metal rack. I
didn't even notice that until you pointed that out. That's so weird.
My whole shop is torn apart because I had to get behind and to the side of the machine. So I had 2 of the 3 power supplies die on me. And so I've taken the opportunity and the third one was acting up anyway. So the company that sold it to me, I bought it through eBay. I got a really good price on it. But with that really good price came some false promises. They didn't honor the 1-year warranty. Surprise. And this is a big company, mind you. They just didn't respond. They ghosted me. And
full on ghosting.
Full on ghost. They admitted that, yeah, there's a warranty. But when I asked them to initiate the warranty claim to send me replacement parts, I even offered to pay shipping. Or if they told me what it is, I'd order it from them. Ghosted.
Rough.
So, anyways.
Luckily, the parts you needed weren't that expensive. So we went shopping.
Power supplies, man. 3 power supplies. And I'm switching it over to 110. So it's no longer going to be a 220 machine. So I can not have a gross transformer stuck to my machine.
Point being, you're learning how your machine is wired and its electrical requirements because you are being forced to.
Yes,
it's not it's not a reason to buy a crappy machine, but it's a silver lining.
Yes. So long story short, gives you confidence to work on it.
Yeah.
When I think too, another consideration is how much customer support do you think you're going to need? If you're a newbie like myself, you're going to want serious customer support, or be a part of a really good community.
Yep.
That will help you through things like that. That's another, reason you want to go with for me, that's why I thought.
I think at the end of the day, people know that better laser companies and higher quality lasers come with better support, and they just can't afford them. I think a lot of people look to laser marking and laser engraving as a clean slate. It's like, I'm going to start a business. I'm going to break the chains of whatever it is holding me down in life, and I'm going to do my own thing. And that doesn't always come with a full bank account. You know what I mean? So even if people have that knowledge, sometimes you just have to buy the lesser option. And that's why communities like this exist, because that's been a lot of us. I didn't have a dime when I bought my first laser. I literally spread it around on 4 credit cards and my PayPal credit account. Like literally, in order to get that transaction processed. I didn't have a dime. And that's why I have a big 100-watt red and black Ruida controlled, it isn't even an OhmTech. It's just like an OhmTech copycat sitting in the shop, because it was the only thing that I could get to try to start my business. And luckily I found people along the way that were willing to help me out.
Well, shout out to the hobby guy from Louisiana here for the donation, the super chat.
Thank you, Rich.
Good people.
Always great having you by, man.
That's right. You know, and here's the bearded builds. He says he has 3 ohms. He loves tinkering with them. So if that's what you're into, then they're workhorses. I heard they're
dude. Yeah, if you're into that, they are like a wet dream. Let me just be like, they are so fun to work on if you like tinkering. A lot of people don't like tinkering. A lot of people want to design stuff and engrave stuff.
That's me.
But yeah,
I want to plug and play, man.
Dude, I love ripping these things apart and putting them back together and changing how, like, that's just fun for me, man.
Yep. There's something out there for him. That's true.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, there is. Whether you're looking, at the ohmtechs or diodes, and you're trying to start at that low level, or you need a plug and play solution, right? You're looking at something like Aeons, the Aeon Mira line or the Aeon Novas, really high end stuff, guys. Really nice. Some of the best Ruida controlled lasers on the market, or even the Thunder lasers if you're looking for more of like an industrial application instead of like a commercial sided application. Some of the Thunders could be great too, if it's in your budget. I think budget's a huge part of this. Having the knowledge about the material you need to mark, and then taking that and comparing it to your budget and what those lasers are in that budget range for that wavelength option. That's the formula. That's the magic formula here to find out what the best laser is for beginners, and then finally, once you have that determined, then you have to ask yourself, am I doing this as a hobby or for business? And make decisions accordingly. But I just don't, man, like I was guessing randomly when I first got started in this industry about what to get and what they did. And it pays to have somebody there that's got your back, that can answer questions, that can help walk you through the process and help you avoid pitfalls. I think it's just so important.
Well, my thing is for me, I'd rather work another job to get the right fiscal availability. Just I have just liquid cash just sitting there ready to go. And so I worked the second job. My girlfriend, she worked the second job. We still are. Yeah. Because we want to start our business with no debt. So we paid, we said, okay, we need $10,000. Okay. Yeah. Let's go do it. Then I found your damn channel, got me on these damn fiber lasers. I'm like, well, there's 6 more. There we go. I'm gonna go all in, Yeah. But that's me. I'm the type of person, I'd rather work harder and push this back for 6 months to a year and say, okay, I want to be ready and debt free up front to give it more chance to succeed. So that's one of my biggest factors was, you know what? I don't want to buy something and have to upgrade. You're constantly, you're slowing down your own progress. That's how I felt about it for myself. I was like, you know what? Let's just do your research and find what fits your needs. Like you said, for me, customer support is huge. Yeah. And you get what you pay for. And like you're saying, you get what you pay for. So I said, fuck it. I'm going to just go all in. Yeah. Work hard, play hard now.
So I think a lot of people that click on this video after it's live, I know you guys like hanging out with us. That's why you're here right now, because you love our smiling faces and our soothing voices. I'm well aware of that. But people that click on this video later, they're like, where are the brands? Give me the brand names. I want to hear brand names. So we'll rattle some off really quick, I think would be totally fair. Diodes, atom stacks, pretty much always going to be good. The Ortur lineup, pretty much always going to be good. If you want to be a baller and you just got a brand new set of gold grills, X-Tool, why not? It's going to be you're not going to get like a crappy laser unless you mess up putting the thing together. It's not going to just fall apart on you, like it's going to have all the essential functions and components in order to do what it needs to do. Am I not thinking of anything, Kyle? We haven't sunk our teeth into the Niji yet. Like, right?
I haven't sunk my teeth into the Niji enough to really have a strong preference one way or the other.
Yeah, sure. So we'll get to it.
Per gears, I would say, are very much more or less atom stacks. They use atom stack diodes. So if you could get an atom stack versus a pure gear, they go on sale one way or the other.
Right.
Compare the diode modules.
Right. And the just the L5 Laser Storm and the L5 Laser Storm Pro. One of the big differences between those two models is the limit switches, which we talked about earlier. So
limit switch, and I think it has an e-stop as well.
I'm just saying, man. Definitely pay attention to that kind of stuff. Look and see what you need. We do have before we move on to the next type here. Yeah, beautiful. Thank you, Emily. Happy to support those who serve, she says. Right. Thank you for all you do. Thank you for being here. We love having you around. It's great seeing you pop in. We actually don't get you on live streams very often. You got to come through more often, dude. Hang out with us. Hang out with the boys.
That's right. Okay, so those are your recommendations for diodes.
Diodes.
Yep.
They're just diode lasers specifically. It's like going to the grocery store and buying like the brand name soap, like there's some, the brand name peanut butter, like there's some stuff you just don't get the store brand of. Don't get the store brand Dawn. Don't get the store brand Jif, right? Like get the name brand stuff. It's that much better. Sometimes it matters. Diode lasers, get the name brand stuff. You're gonna like it.
We're not saying the off-brand ones are bad. We don't know, but in some cases we know.
Yeah, we know enough. I know enough to just say, and they're all it's less about that and more that like one is like $199.99, and then the cheap knockoff alternative is like $187.43, and it's like, is that
$13 is totally worth it?
Does that matter? Like at that, when we get into fiber lasers and we're talking about name brand fiber lasers, right? Like, is 9,000 that much better than 7,700? That's a different conversation. Right. With diodes, that difference is so much thinner. I think it's just go with the brand names. Like, you're not, whatever comes, even if you know nothing about what you just bought, whatever comes is gonna be decent. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm getting after.
Right.
So that's that. OhmTex. We want to do this one before we
let's
do
CO2.
Yep.
Another shout out here. We got Kelly Stixel.
Thank you, Kelly.
Thanks for the info, vids.
Kelly's a bro for sure. Yep, we love Kelly. Thank you, Kelly.
Awesome.
CO2 lasers, OhmTex, great value, great opportunity to learn how gantry lasers work
and like repair them.
Yeah, sometimes your only option. Are they bad machines? I don't think so. Personally, I don't think they're bad machines. I just think that they have very loose QA, and borderline poor support. Which it is what it is. It's a $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 big ass gantry laser. You get what you pay for. Can you afford the time to put the TLC into a machine like that? Do you have the desire to put the TLC into a machine like that? If the answer to either of those questions is no, look at a more expensive option. It's not worth it, especially if you're buying for business use. If you are buying for business use, especially a business that's already generating revenue, and you need a plug, you produce a product and you need to market, maybe don't start with the OhmTex.
Yeah, time is money there.
Yeah, for real. Because at that point, it's already too late, right? Every minute that machine is not marking, you're losing money. So maybe don't start there. Maybe look at something more expensive. If you're generating revenue, you should be able to afford something more expensive anyway.
Yeah.
Outside of that specific call out, would I recommend an OhmTex laser to people? Sure. I like mine a lot. I really do. I genuinely like mine. It's a good machine. It's like that crappy old car that you drove in high school and now it just sits in the driveway and you don't want to get rid of it. You love that car though. I love that car. That's how I feel about it. So
still starts on the first turn, man.
Shit, man. That's what I'm saying. So yeah. Consider an OhmTex if it sounds like something that's right for you. After that, when we tier up, what are we looking at? Thunders, Aeons, Boss. I actually, it's been a while since I've looked at Boss's pricing. Are they in line with the Thunder Aeon stuff, or are they more or less? I don't know. I don't talk about Boss a lot. Does Boss even run Ruida controllers?
They do.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
Been a minute.
I think they just switched over to hybrid servos like Aeon and Thunder as well.
Playing a little catch up.
Or it might be an upgrade option.
Yeah. The Boss is an option. It's one of those.
She says close. I take her word for this.
Laguna. Yeah, Laguna. I actually spent some time with Laguna out at the APA Expo in Vegas last year, and I got to talk to them. Their machines look pretty nice. They're pretty nice. So definitely something to take a look at for sure. Yeah, the value is different between them. Yeah. That people have. Boss is in line with Laguna. That one I like. Can we throw that one up? That's from Jason there. Boss is in line with Laguna. That is accurate. So Boss and Laguna are here. Then we've got top tier Thunder, Aeon right up at the top. Very different machines. I've always viewed the Aeon machines as more of like a commercial application, and Thunder has always kind of felt more like industrial to me, depending on which of those industries you find yourself marking for more in. May help sway your opinion or decision between one or the other of those. The mirrors are sleek. They're very pretty. They're very showy. If you're big on like your Instagram game, or whatever, it's got that look. It looks cool and new. The Thunders are more like beefy, like
shop.
Chunky boys, yeah, which still looks cool in its own right. Don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with a sexy picture of a Thunder laser on social media, but it's definitely a different vibe, Guys, there's rave reviews about both of those companies. I don't think you're going to be disappointed with either of them when they show up. There are pros and cons to any of them. Eon, I know that kills me. I hate that because there's a giant capital A in the beginning, and you know what? I think I'm just going to keep saying Aeon, and they can get over it. I can't help it, dude. It's a giant. If they want Eon, is EON.
Yeah. Well, but also remember that there's that graphic novel, Eon Flux, spelled the same way too, though.
That is true. That is true. I wish you didn't bring that up because that's irritating me now. Neither here nor there. So that's CO2s done. Check them off the list. Fibers, guys. Fibers are tough.
Isn't that more about like laser source than it is about the company?
Yes, it's at the end of the day, you're buying a source. And then the shell around it to get the beam out of the inside and to the outside. Kelly says Trotec Epilogue then make you hurt in the wallet. So so we're really clear here, I'm not talking about Trotec or Epilogue because they run proprietary controllers and software. So I'm not talking about them. We're talking about Lightburn compatible Ruida controlled machines in this list.
I think once you get into Epilogue and Trotec, you're no longer looking at beginner level either.
Yeah, and once you're at Epilogue or Trotec, you're not watching my channel anymore. You're doing something else. You're
spending 50 or 100 grand on a laser.
If you buy Trotec or Epilogue, you're getting help from Trotec and Epilogue. Not YouTube. That's really what it comes down to.
Kyle,
so
you can afford that. 100,000
for the most part for a new laser. Yeah.
Yeah. The cheapest, the absolute cheapest, smallest Epilogue machines start at like $25,000. And that's just for their gantry machines. And then they have like the G2, like the Epilogue G2 is their multi-focus fiber laser system with like lens swap ability and like all this crazy stuff. I think the last time I looked, and this was a while ago, the minimum price was like $70,000 on that machine. So again, we're talking about Ruida controlled Lightburn compatible machines. And that's why we're not talking about Epilogue or Trotec in this conversation. Anyway, fiber lasers. Yes, it is. It's about the source. We're talking about the source here. The source is the key. Everything else can be fixed or replaced. You don't want to fix or replace everything else, but it can be. You got to get a good source. Maxes, I used to say never ever buy a max laser source. Now I've kind of changed my opinion. I say maxes are fine if you want it for a second laser or for travel, but I wouldn't want a business that relied on one as my primary and only ability to mark metal. I just wouldn't. I'm not there yet. They've been doing stuff to update their company, update their image, perhaps improve their sources, but I've just not seen the light yet on that. So I'm going to maintain my be wary of max kind of rating on that. What do we got here?
So Thunder and Eon is also making fiber laser lines now too.
Yeah,
I think we had Alicia on. She had the new Thunder fiber, right?
Yeah, the Aurora. Yeah, absolutely. Which I'll get to. I've got a note about that. That's a little asterisk I'm going to save for the end of this tirade that I'm on right now. But so anyway, the max sources. Raycus are fine if you don't need a wide frequency range. If your primary goals are very deep engraving or cutting of thin metals like sheet metals and things like that, Raycus, dope, no problem. If you're looking for an anneal machine that's going to do a bunch of beautiful colors on stainless or a bunch of plastics or polymers, things like that, Raycus, not the go-to. Because they typically have very limited frequency ranges, anything from like 30 to 80. I've seen some 30 to 65 kilohertz machines. That frequency range on those Raycus units is really tight. They do make MOPA lasers, and they are not very prevalent in the market right now. They're very difficult to find installed inside of reliable machines. So normally when you see a Raycus, it's going to be a Q-switched Raycus. You're going to see that limited frequency range on those. So again, deep engraving, cutting, Raycus, great, no problem. Otherwise, you want to look at a JPT. JPT is really the only thing I recommend to people these days. They're excellent sources, very high quality on build and performance. Usually you're looking at a frequency range on these machines of 1 to 400 or 1 to 600 kilohertz, way up into the anneal range. Way up into the anneal range, and that's just on their regular MOPA, like non-pulse width adjusted models. I think when you start getting to like the 60 watt M7, 80 watt M7 sources, those frequency ranges start to bump up into like the 1 to 4,000 kilohertz range, which is just ridiculous. And of course, we could get into MOPA lasers and a whole lot more here.
I got a question about that then.
Yeah, sure. What's up?
What is the benefit to go to that high of a frequency? What does that allow you to?
Well, yeah. So that's
access?
Such a big question, and it doesn't sound like one, but it is.
It's an infinite number of variety of answers.
Seriously, the frequency inherently is the number of times, because these fiber lasers are not continuous wave lasers. They're pulsing. Right. They're turning on and off thousands of times per second, right? Kilohertz, thousands of times per second. The frequency is how many times that laser is pulsing per second. 20 kilohertz is 20,000 pulses per second, okay? The faster you pulse that laser, the less time the laser has to charge up between pulses. Okay. So when you are marking at 400 kilohertz, that beam is going to be significantly weaker. It's going to have a significantly weaker impact on the material than when you're marking at 20 kilohertz, right? People like this. This is good because it means that we can heat things instead of ablating them. We want to just heat them up. Prime example of that, colors on steel, right? Colors on steel, we want high frequency ranges and adjustable pulse width so that we can heat the metal without actually engraving into it. So that is why. Now, when you get into MOPAs, and this is where things get complicated, is that the master oscillator, what is it? Master oscillator, come on, power amplifier.
Yeah. That.
allows you to change the length of the pulses. So we have how many times is it pulsing per second, and how long is it pulsing for? So the duration of that pulse, right? And if you drop that pulse duration way down, it's like a fine power adjustment. So your power percentage, 1 to 100%, would be like your big macro adjustment, right? And then your pulse duration, you can turn up to get really long, heavy striking pulses. Boom, 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 right? Like the pulses last for a long time. Mm-hmm. Or you could turn that way down, 6 nanoseconds. That's 6 billionths of a second that pulse lasts, right? That would be a very low impact mark. So one of the beautiful things about this is that everybody always thinks about the colors. So I want to mark the colors. One of the coolest things that you can do with MOPA lasers is jack your frequency up and then jack your pulse duration up. So you're marking more times per second, and the pulses are staying on for longer. And that means that you can keep your relative power at higher frequencies, which is really cool. So if I was hitting the material at 20,000 times per second and it was doing a pretty good ablation, and I wanted to ablate faster and I turned my frequency up to 400, now my laser's super weak. But on a MOPA, if I raise my pulse duration and I turn it up to 400 kilohertz, it's now hitting 400,000 times per second with the power it was hitting at 20. Right? Does that that's a very it's a complex topic, and Kyle and I are getting into MOPA stuff later this year. I'll do a nice big demonstration. We'll talk about it, how it works, what the consequences are when you start messing with those kind of settings. So we will get into all of that later, but Kelly says, Alex, before you end, please address the JPT M8 while on the fiber subject. Are you tracking? What do you expect in the market for the rest of us? Thanks. Sure, Kelly. Happy to talk about the M8. So the big thing with the M8 is the pulse power. Pulse power is measured in millijoules. Typically, machines for fiber lasers, typically the pulse power is the maximum amount of energy that you can build up before a pulse is released. So at some point when you have your frequency set super low and your pulse duration set super high, you're going to hit a wall where your machine's like, bro, I can't handle that much power. You know, that pulse duration's too long. We're getting into like continuous wave territory, you know, where the components inside the machine simply can't handle that much energy. And you're going to hit that wall where it says, bro, you need to bring your frequency up, or you need to pull that pulse duration down because it's too much. That number, that limit, is your maximum pulse output power. On M7 machines, that maximum pulse output power is typically 1.5 millijoules to 2.0 millijoules of energy per pulse. Okay. On the M8, it's going to be, from what I understand, correct me if I'm wrong, Kyle, I don't know if you've seen this stuff too, multiple times higher than that. So what you're looking at with M8 is very, very high, very powerful pulse output powers, which effectively means that you can mark things that the infrared lasers saw as transparent. So you're going to be marking glass. You're going to be hitting metals much harder than you were before. It'll be great for cutting applications because you can deliver a lot more power in the same amount of time as you can with something like an M7. I don't know what the release date window is. I don't know how much they're going to cost. They're probably going to be super expensive and cost prohibitive. Not that UV lasers aren't already, which is what you need to mark glass as a galvo now, because the pulsed nature of a galvo CO2 doesn't really allow you to mark glass effectively. Asterisk, exceptions to that. But without getting too complicated on air right now, because we are live and I don't want to bore people, the M8s are going to have super high pulse output powers. That is the difference between the M8 and the M7. Yeah. From what I can tell, I'm just reading the documentation that's being dropped here and there, you know, and picking up on notes and stuff like that. So
I've only seen the documentation on I think it's the 20 watt variety of the M8.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Allegedly, it's wildly different versus the 100 watt.
Sure.
M8.
Yeah. Sure it is.
Well, I mean, versus like an M7, a 20 or 30 watt M7 versus a 60 or 80 or 100 watt M7, you're still within 0.5 millijoule.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, the 20 to 100 is
it's a big range.
It's a big jump, apparently.
We're talking about multiple millijoules of energy per pulse. Like the technology there for the systems to handle more energy throughput is what is being increased here.
Yeah.
So that's where we should see the difference.
Now, to be fair, I don't know this for sure because I haven't seen.
Yeah, we're speculating.
Right,
Let me be super clear. We are 100% speculating right now. There's very little official released information out about these things. This is speculation based on stuff that we've seen out and about.
If somebody reaches out to us with some M8 information, we'd happily accept it.
We sure would. You can email that to, I was going to throw an email out there, but I don't know if I should.
So-and-so.
You can find our email.
Yeah, you can find our email if you're committed. Listen, guys, we're hitting an hour here. I think it's time to go to bonus episode. Are we gonna like take 5 minutes and just set it up and do it live? Maybe do it live.
Sure. Whatever.
All right, we'll do it live. I think we're gonna do it live. So
who wants to hang out more?
10 or 15 minutes, guys, go hit up the Laser Master Academy, sign in, and join us for the bonus episode. You can find it over at masters.lasereverything.net. All of the important information that we put up on this channel goes up absolutely free for everyone because I do not like locking things behind paywalls. And the reason that I'm able to do that and still feed my family and pay these guys their salary and everything else that I need to do is because people just like you support the channel over at the Laser Master Academy. You get some awesome bonus goodies like bonus episodes of the Laser Source podcast. You get bonus live streams. We've been doing LMA office hours lately, which is pretty cool. Kyle and I just hang out and answer your questions. It's just open game, and you guys come in and we try to solve problems. It's been a lot of fun doing that. I think we're doing episode 4 of LMA office hours tomorrow, so worth checking out. So bonus live streams, there's hundreds of hours of bonus live streams, the bonus podcast episodes. We got laser parameters. We got an excellent community. There's over 2,100 people that are part of the Laser Master Academy making this public content available to you guys. So if you want to join them, one more time, masters.lasereverything.net. We're going to close out here and then go live over there for today's bonus episode. Tomorrow, LMA Office Hours number 4. It starts at 7 p.m. for Laser Master Academy members. And then Thursday, Boyce, Kyle, and I will be back for the viewer call-in. It's Laser Source Zapped, guys. If you want to be on the show, let us know what you think the best laser is for beginners. Please come on air. Let us know. Let's talk about it. The release for that is already in the description of that video. So if you see our live videos that are coming up, you can check that out. I've made a couple posts. You can find it on the LMA. You can find it on the Facebook page. It's out there. Sign the release. Come on as a guest. We would love to hear your opinions about that. That'll be Thursday right here at 9 o'clock. Is that it, guys?
Follow it goes. We're also on Twitch now.
We are on Twitch. Yeah, if you're on Twitch, guys, go hit us on Twitch. Boyce has been working really hard on the social media. We got Twitter is going, Instagram is going, TikTok is going. He's putting up great clips of the podcast. They're getting a lot of attention. So if you don't follow us on those places, search Laser Everything. We come up. And Discord, Facebook group, links in the description below. If you need a hand picking your first laser, that's the first place that I would go to get help, because our communities there are amazing.
Well, that's how I found out what laser I wanted. I went to your Discord and I started asking questions for like 2 weeks.
Yeah, for sure.
And then everybody helped me kind of narrow it down. Honestly, that's how I did it.
Yeah, definitely.
Never be afraid to ask questions.
Never be afraid to ask questions, guys. Laser Everything is the place you want to do that. And I think that is all we've got for this episode of the Laser Source podcast. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to smash the like button. Come back after the stream is over and leave us a comment. Let us know what you thought about it. The edit version should be going up tomorrow morning, so keep an eye out for that. And until next time, guys, have a great night. It's great seeing y'all. Thanks for coming by.